let's start recording. Okay, so uh, after finishing the operating system, we already finishing this operating system. Okay, and so today I'm going to deal with application software. So what is application software? Application software are the programs that enable users. So the first time the user comes directly to be productive, yeah, when using the computer. These three lines can be summarized as solve, users, problem. Okay, yes or no? So
yes,
application software are software that solve the user's problem. This is the normal answer. If you go in more technicality, application software are the programs that enable user to be productive when using the computer. Okay, so these application software, this is just the one way of dividing the things. This is not just means only way. You have a lot of ways to divide the things. But here I am dividing the things like application software can be broadly categorized into two types. One is horizontal applications and one is the vertical application. So what is horizontal applications? These are used across division of company. So a company has a multiple divisions and this software can be used in multiple divisions. Okay, and these vertical applications means these are the tailored made programs used for specialized field. So if you can say like this is general purpose, okay, these software are general purpose software, okay, and these are some specialized, okay,
yes, sir.
software that is made for some special to solve some special problems. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. So what are these horizontal applications? This is horizontal application software. Okay, so like personal productivity software like word processing, you already learned about Microsoft Word here. Okay, spreadsheet like Excel, your address book. So these are the your personal productive software. Personally, we generally use all this. Okay. Then some internet software like your web browser, like Chrome. Okay. Edge, etc. And then your email client. Okay. Then multimedia software like desktop publishing software, photo editing, 3D rendering. Okay. You can try to find, you just search on Google and you get a list of softwares in these different categories. So these are not the name of the software. These are just the category of the software. So if you just search for email clients, you get a lot of names. Okay. Similarly, home and education, tax preparation software, personal finance, and game software. Okay. So let's move to the next slide. Vertical application software. These are tailor-made programs for specialized purpose. Okay, like a billing program. So when you go in shopping centers or shopping malls, you get means after buying the after collecting all the things, you go to the counter. At the counter, the person scan one by one all the items, and that particular program generate a bill for you. Okay, so this type of programs, billing programs, are specialized for a particular company. For a different company, it's a different. Okay. Similarly, inventory tracking programs. What are the items is in our stock and what are not? So these softwares are made for just a specific purpose for a specific company. It's not that program used by many companies. Okay. Like similarly, the point of sales program. So just you go in the Mathai store. Okay. So at Mathai store, you go. If you go, you just at a counter. They are using a point of sale program. Means that particular program. Okay. So similarly, some custom softwares like in your railway reservation. If you know, if not, airlines used by different airlines, at airport. Okay. Bank.
So, sir, the point of sales programs and the billing programs is work like in tandem or one different from the other?
See, this is just if any program just generate the bill, you give him this, that this is item number 1, its cost is $20. Item 2, its cost is $30, something like that. It generates a bill, print the bill. You can call it as a billing program. Okay, and point of sales is just a similar software. Okay.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Point here is that these programs are made for a specific purpose for a specific company. Okay.
Yes, sir.
They have a specific purpose. Okay. So like a bank software used by one bank is different from a software that is used by another bank. Similarly, at airport, different airport use the different softwares. Okay. Similarly, in the banks, at airlines. So these are the specific software made for that particular organization. Okay. Let's move to the next slide. Okay. So some other types, stand-alone program. Like these are fully self-contained. They are not dependent on any other program like your Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. So I just have all the things related to the Word in a single program, that is Microsoft Word. And similarly, all the things related to the spreadsheet is a single program, that is Microsoft Excel. So these are just the stand-alone program. Okay, there are some integrated programs. So you search for these programs. All programs is an integrated package are accessed by a common launching pad. Okay, so like if you open your Google, you get these 3 dots. You remember this thing?
Yes.
9 points. And if you click here, you get a list of programs, different programs. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So these are just the integrated programs. So if you click here, you get a list of things. Okay, so it's just like a launching pad, this particular program that enable you to open a different set of programs. Okay. Similarly, there is software suites that contains standalone program that share resources with each other, like your Microsoft Office. So you have a Microsoft Office. Okay. Microsoft Office, and in Microsoft Office you have Word, okay, Excel, and PowerPoint, and different programs. But these different programs share the same interface. Okay, like they have the same tab structures. Yes or no? So their functionality, like Word and Excel, they have different functionality altogether, but still they have a lot of features that is common. Like in printing, if you go in printing or okay, if you go in the printing, you get the same way. Okay, so these common features are organized as separate parts. Okay, getting or not? Mark, can you hear me? Yes, yes.
Hello?
Yes, yes, I am here. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh. Yeah, now I hear you properly.
Okay. So let's move to the next slide. Some web technology softwares. Okay. So anything that is available over internet, these are just basically the web technology software. Okay. So web technology refers to applications that enable the user to create documents that are compatible with format user on the internet. The most common format is HTML, and this HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So like this is the CDEX website screenshot. Okay. And this is your YouTube. And this is Facebook. And this is Google. Okay. So these the things you can see here are encoded in a language that is known as HTML, and this HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Okay, so this basically this web technology is a combined of a lot of technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, and many more. So I'm just saying that these are a different type of software altogether. Okay. So just please remember this thing for the exam point of view. This HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Okay. So this is the important part. Yes. Hypertext Markup Language. Okay. Okay. System requirement. When you install, so now we move to the installation of the software. How to install the software? Installation part. Okay. So if you try to install any software, you have to see the basic requirement, the system requirement for installing. Here the example for Windows 10. Okay. So it's clearly Microsoft website clearly says that a basic requirement for installing a Windows 10 on a PC. What is the meaning of this system requirement? If your device does not meet these requirements, you may not have the great experience intended with Windows 10 and might want to consider purchasing a new PC. So it says that if this is the minimum requirement, these all requirements is the minimum requirement. If you don't have this requirement, your experience may or may not be good. Okay. So these are just the minimum requirements, like processor size is 1 gigahertz, 1 gigabyte of RAM, 32-bit or if you have, okay, see here, if you have a 32-bit system, then size should be 1 gigabyte. But if you have 64-bit system, the size should be 2 gigabytes. Okay. Similarly, you require a minimum 32 gigabyte of hard disk. Okay. Some graphics card information, some display information, and internet connectivity. Okay. So these are some requirements. So for each software, these requirements are different. So before installing the system, you must check these requirements. What are the minimum requirements for this software? Okay.
Yes,
sir. Okay. Each software, what is software version? Okay. So software producers include a version number with their product. What is this version number? Identify the release of the program being used. So where you can find, this is a Visual Studio Code program. This is just like a notepad. Okay. See here, this version is 1.39.2. Okay. Similarly, this is Adobe Acrobat Reader. Version number is 2019.021.20048. Okay. So whole numbers are the major revision. Like here, this is the major revision. Okay. So what is this version number first? Initially, I write a software and then I put it over the web to use by anyone. And I say that, okay, this is my 1.0. Okay. Now I added some more functionality, solve some problem. Many users face some problem. I solve those problems and I release a new version, 2.0. Then after some time, 3.0, then 4.0. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, these are whole numbers and these are the major revisions or versions. Okay. Then after this, in between from 1 to 2, we may release a lot of like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. At a particular time, I just release another version. So these numbering systems are used by the developer of the softwares, company of the softwares. Okay. So from our point of view, you have to see these first. This is what is the current version. Okay. And these are just the maintenance release. So in between I have a software A. Okay. If it is, I move from 1.0 to 2.0, there is some feature change. Okay. Some feature change, some new functionality. Okay. A lot of things change. But between 1.0 to 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, there are some generally the bug fixes. If you any problem is found, it will be reported and then it's solved, and they release a maintenance release. So these decimal numbers refer to the maintenance releases or updates and fixes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is just the only way to remember things. Like here, see, Adobe Acrobat uses 2019. So it says that if this version is released in 2019. Yes, 2019. Okay. But here, if you see this thing, this version 1.39.2, here there is no indication of 2019 or 2020. Getting the point? So it's not the unique, but the first part is the major version, and after that, a lot of maintenance or fix, just some update fixes. Okay. Let me move to the next slide. Okay. So here we define these version numbers and these releases or updates and fixes. What are these things? So software upgrades. Software upgrading is the process of keeping application program current. So suppose you install your Office in 2007. So if you try to use this Office today, means a lot of new feature added. So we encourage normally to use this current version of the Office. Yes or no? Similarly, if you are XP user in your Office, so now the window just removing the all the any support for XP 7 or they are providing now the Windows 10. So okay, so what is this XP and these 10? These are just the different upgradation of the system. Okay, so time to time you may feel that you have to upgrade the system. Software upgrading is the process of keeping the application program current. So how you can do? Two things. There are service releases and there are patch. What is the service release? It's a major changes in the program, like XP to Vista, then Windows 7, then Windows 8, and then Windows 10. So these are some major changes. 7 to 8, 8 to 10. Okay. Like similarly in Office, 7 to 10 to 13 to 19. So these are some major changes happen. So these are service release. Okay. Similarly, patch. What is the patch? These are the small change in the program. Okay. So patch is a small change. Like maybe you find some bug in your Excel in 2013. So if in a maybe a next sub version 2013.1, you Microsoft solve this particular problem and release a patch. Okay.
So sir, with the patches, that's related to the decimal numbers, unlike with the service release, which is the whole numbers.
Yes. So patches are generally a small change in the program. It's not a major change. You never get a lot of UI change or a lot of new features. No, it is just solving a particular problem. Like if many users are facing a particular problem, so Microsoft try to solve that particular problem and release a small patch. But after some time, they change the user interface and add a lot of new features, and then they release a new service, new version, that is service release, like from 2007 to 2010. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then copyright and public domain software. So what is copyrighted software? Most computer software is copyrighted. Copyrighted software cannot be copied, altered, or are used in more than one computer if you don't have a license. Suppose you buy a particular antivirus for your system. Okay, you can't use that particular program in another system because you buy just a license for one system. Okay, doing so, if you are doing this particular thing, that is infringing on a program's copyright, and this is illegal. Okay, so this is the illegal thing. So if you
Yes.
buy a particular software for your system and you have just one license, so you must have to use in your system. Okay. And so these are the this is the copyrighted software. Most of the software are copyrighted. Okay. Then the open source software. What is open source software? It generally says OSS. So OSS is a software in which source code is released under a license. So here you never get the source code. Okay. Here you get the source code, but it's a license. Copyright holder grants user the right to study, change, and distribute the software to anyone for any purpose. So in open source here, everything is just means copyrighted. You never get the source code. So if you don't have the source code, you can't change the particular program. Only company owner has the source code. But in the open source software, you have the source code. Okay. So if you have the source code, you can change these source codes. Okay. Then you can distribute this program to anybody for any purpose. Okay. And then public domain software. So public domain software is not copyrighted. There is no copyright. There are no restrictions on using, copying, altering, or selling this software. So if you have any software in public domain, anybody can use it. There is no problem with that particular software. Okay. So from top to bottom, restriction is less and less. Here a lot of restrictions is like your Windows. If you are using a pirated copy, using the pirated copy is illegal. Okay. But if you have the open source software, it's a less restricted. You can change. You have the source code. You can distribute it. Like you buy make any number of copy of a Linux software and you distribute freely. You can't charge for that, but you can distribute. But if any software is a public domain,
Sir, WinRAR is copyrighted or open source?
Windows. Which software?
WinRAR.
WinRAR. No, WinRAR is not open source. I think this is in the next slide. Okay, so let's move. So what is this copyright commercial software? Buy before using it. For example, your Microsoft Office or Microsoft Windows 10, they are just copyrighted software. Okay. Okay. Then there are shareware software. What is this? Distributed free on a trial basis with the understanding that user may need or want to pay for it later. So I created a software and I will say that, okay, you can use it freely with the hope that maybe in the future you can buy these software. How? So trial version is distributed with disabled features. Example like WinZip, Adobe Acrobat 8 Professional, or your WinRAR. So what WinRAR do? It gives you 3-month license. Okay, use 3 months freely, but after 3 months, a lot of features disabled, and they always pop up. Okay, so if you like similarly, if currently I don't know in Ghana if it's there or not, but in India, YouTube launched a new feature that is premium. Okay, YouTube Premium. So what they charge? They like 300 Ghanaian dollar they charge. Okay, in Indian currency it's around 129 rupees. So they charge 300 Ghanaian dollar. So if you pay 300 GYD, there is no ad on your on the video. But if you are not paying that money, you are not a premium user. So they play a lot of ad on the different videos. Okay, so this is like a shareware software, shareware thing. So if you want totally free, you have to means a lot of advertisements, a lot of pop-up menu. Okay, and if you try to remove those things, you have to pay. So this type of the ideas comes in the shareware thing, where some features are free and some features are like premium features. They called it what? Premium features. Okay. They call it premium feature. So if you want to use this premium feature, you must pay. Otherwise, use this free copy. There is no problem. Use free. But if you want some premium feature, you have to pay. So this category is shareware. And now the free software or freeware software, free software, but it can't be copied or sold. You can't copy or sold, means you can't sell in terms of money. It's a free, but like Adobe PDF. PDF is free. Facebook Messenger is free, but it's not that you put in a pen drive or USB and then you start selling it. You can't do that thing. Okay, so such type of software is known as freeware software. Okay. Good. So next, so is it required here to installing application, uninstalling software, launching application? You just read these things. It's just easy. For installing a program, you have an installation utilities in Windows. Okay, so you just have to click on this installation utilities, the file you downloaded or you get, and then it's guide you through the process of the installation. It just guide you. Installation changes the registry of the operating system. What is registry? Registry is the configuration file. Okay, a configuration file. Okay, and these are some most important files of your operating system. So never try to change these registry files. Okay, how to uninstall? Then if you just search in your start menu, there is a so when you install the program, any application, it basically install a particular file. Okay, uninstall.exe. Okay, so when you install an application, it at the last it install a particular program that is known as uninstall. And if you click on this uninstall, it try to step by step remove. It try to remove all the files. Okay, so for uninstallation, don't just delete the program from your C drive. No, if you just try to delete, if you go into your C drive and program directory and then open a particular program, just delete that particular directory or folder. No, it's not deleted. Why? Because see, your installation, while you installing, you change the registry of the operating system, and those things you can't reverse by just deleting. So what is the solution? Solution is use the uninstall.exe. It remove the directory and also reset this configuration file to its original previous case. Okay. So now to launch a program, there is a lot of way to launching the program. When you start means go in the basically just press the window key and type the program's name. It pop up and you just click there. Okay. What happens when you launch a program? Now it's more clear. When you're launching a program, transfer program code from the hard disk to memory. It becomes a process, and then process execution starts, as we discussed in the operating system section. Okay. Let's move to the next slide. Okay. So this is the last slide. I think this is related to the software license and the registration. So this is the one term you heard a lot of the time, that is individual license agreement. So this is known as EULA. Okay, in starter form. So what is EULA? License registration tool provides way to present EULA to the end user, as well as facilitating the transfer of required registration information and consent to the license. So this EULA is a legal document. Okay, and when you, so it's like this, when you let me go here. When you install a program, it's just put you a long screen of text, and then it says I accept. I accept. And once you click here accept, then only the next key, this button becomes enable. Then only you can move to the next part. Okay. Generally, we never read this end user license agreement, but we should read this. Okay. License registration is often used in conjunction with the license key generations and license management tools to prevent the developer software from being copied, shared, or otherwise illegally used. Okay. So, and successfully registering a software applications often activate the software for legal use by the end user or enterprise. So if you agree, okay, with your EULA and provide the license, your key means how the license is managed. Okay, so I created a software, particular software named ABC. I give you a long piece of text, that is your EULA. Okay, you read this thing and accept it. You install the software. Okay, you install the software, and at the end it asks you a key. Okay, so these end user license agreement and this key both combinedly make sure that pirated copy is not used. Not used. Okay, good. So these are the different things. So my suggestion as a instructor is that try to understand this individual license agreement. But although we could nowadays we have to install so many of the programs, so it's sometimes feasible or sometimes it's not feasible. But okay, one more good thing is in the open source industries, these OSS softwares, they have the different type of license like MIT license, GPL license. Okay, so there is different terms. Okay, and they have like there are 10 or 12 types of the license. Okay, and they are built structured document. So it's not that this software. So they say that okay, this particular open source software is an MIT license. And since there are only 10 or 12, so a lot of people understand and know that what is the MIT license allowed you, what is the GPL license allow you. But in case of the copyrighted software, so means paid software, every company has their own license terms, their own EULA, so that it's making it more difficult to understand those terms and conditions. Okay, so so in this way we reach to the end of our computer fundamental course. Okay.